Hi, I'm Christopher Lloyd with Film Yap and Fox 59, and I am very pleased to joining me today is Alex Rodgers, Hoosier filmmaker.
Hi there. Happy to be here.
Well, we're very glad to have you, and you kind of have a very place of distinction with the Indy Film Fest that is kicking off today. Is not only do you have the honor of being your film being the opening night film, but you actually have two films in this year's festival. Pretty impressive. I guess the first question I want to ask you is, it's always great when filmmakers learn that their film's going to be featured in a festival, but tell me what it was like getting that call or email or whatever it was saying, hey, we'd like to have you be our opening night film.
It was very exciting. I was at work actually, and got the call near the end of the shift, so that really changed the tone of the day. But it's a huge honor. I'm born and raised in Indiana, so the Indy Film Fest has always been uh, something I've been very fond of and tried to attend as much as I can. So being the opening night film is, uh, yeah, feeling pretty blessed.
Well, let's start with that. Let's talk about the opening night film, Last Days of Summer. I'll just let you describe it in your own words and then tell us a little bit about how the project came to fruition into being a feature film.
Sure. So I guess my pitch for it, the synopsis, Last Days of Summer is about Ricky Gallo and Summer Johansson. They're two teenagers stuck in their small neighborhood in their small town. They're fresh out of high school, figuring out what to do with their lives, and it takes place over the course of a summer. And it really kicks off when Johnny, Ricky's older half brother, returns to town, and he's been estranged from the family. So his arrival raises a lot of questions. It causes tension in the family, and ultimately, it leads to a series of events that lead to the disappearance of Summer Johansson, the girl next door. In a lot of ways, it's a coming of age story about love, loss, and generational trauma.
Yeah, and it's set in a historic neighborhood here in Indianapolis, very much as a sense of kind of time and place. I think we also shot some other Indiana locations, Artcraft Theater. Just talk a little bit about the production of this film and what was like shooting your own film in the greater Indianapolis area.
Yeah. So Woodruff Place is where the film is shot and set. And I was living in Woodruff Place at the time when I wrote it. I've lived in Woodruff Place for like 4 out of the 10 years that I've lived in Indianapolis. So I really wrote the script with that in mind. And then one of my producing partners and the cinematographer of my film, Curtis, he's lived there with his family for I don't know how many years, but um, it just made sense from an aesthetic standpoint. It's a beautiful neighborhood, but also from like a logistical standpoint, we were able to talk to the neighbors and get access to some of the homes. And, it felt like we were just shooting a film within our community. So that was some of the reasoning behind that.
Great. And maybe talk about what sort of challenges and opportunities, because people often say like, oh, you can't. It's hard to shoot feature films in Indiana. Just talk a little bit about that. About what were your challenges and opportunities, obstacles you overcame, and maybe some serendipitous things that happened that helped move the project along.
I guess from my perspective, the only reason we were able to make this was because we shot it in Indiana, and because 90+% of our cast and crew were local or residents. A lot of them were born and raised or have lived here for a number of years. So I really think like the only reason we were able to do this is because of the support from the community. So I couldn't picture it being set or filmed anywhere else.
Fantastic. Let's turn to a little bit to your second film. You also have a documentary short, Daniel, in the running of the festival. Talk a little bit about that film because it's about a very particular person that I think both of us know.
Yeah, my guy Daniel, what a person. Yeah, so Daniel is about my buddy Daniel Arthur Jacobson. He is just a really cool, interesting guy with a lot of hobbies and interests. So the film is really about him and his life, and yeah, aforementioned hobbies and interests, but also he's one of the people who helped found the Can Art House Cinema here in Indianapolis. So that's another part of the story. So it's kind of a love letter to him as a person, the Can as an institution, and what it means to be an individual in the community. Like I don't know, it's like a big gushy love letter to a small part of Indianapolis.
Yeah, and I haven't checked the schedule for the fest, but I'm hoping that Daniel will actually play at the Can. For those who don't know, Can is one of the two primary viewing locations for Indy Film Fest, also with living room theater. So that would be quite a coming of things together to have one of the founders of Can showing a movie about him at the Can.
I think they're both for the shorts block that Daniel's a part of. I think they're both at the Can. And I think Daniel will be there at least for some of it.
Maybe
So
he'll sign some autographs for the folks.
I hope so. Yeah. Man of the
Let's,
people.
let's talk a little bit about you. Just talk about your, coming up as a filmmaker. What sort of, education, formal or otherwise, how did you arrive at this point of your career, making a feature film, making documentary shorts, other work that you're doing?
Yeah, I guess I'm not formally trained. I didn't go to film school. In high school, I went to the J. Everett Light Career Center and did film and animation courses for like half my days, junior and senior year. So I wanted to be a filmmaker pretty early on. I'd say like 12 to 14 years old. I figured out that's what I want to do, and I've been chasing that pretty much ever since. But yeah, when I went to college, I studied traditional art. I majored in drawing and sculpture, so took like 4 years and kind of veered from that path, and then got out of school and realized I don't really know what to do with a drawing and sculpture degree. So found myself in video production. I've worked for various companies over the years. I worked for Beck's Hybrids out of school, and then I worked for Robert's Camera for a little bit. I was with Sun King. I was their photo video guy for three plus years, and I was actually working there when we shot Last Days of Summer. So they were kind enough to give me like a month straight to just go pursue the dream. So shout out to them. But yeah, I guess I've just been kind of bouncing around the video production space and doing passion projects along the way. And in the meantime, I try and write and direct things on that journey.
And maybe, what sort of advice would you give to younger and aspiring filmmakers? Maybe someone who is in that 12, 13, 15, 16-year-old age group who's thinking about this, and it just seems impossible. What would you say?
I feel like it's kind of cliche at this point, and I feel like when I was their age, a part of me didn't like hearing it, but like you have everything at your fingertips right now. Like you can go shoot on the phone. I wouldn't worry so much about the visual quality of the thing. I would really focus on figuring out how to tell a good story, and I would surround myself with people who have a shared interest. I mean, I think as I've gotten older, I've realized how important community is and how much that can accomplish. Like everything I've done alone is not nearly as good as the thing I've done with people and friends and collaborators. So I would say find your people, and just keep doing it. I don't know. Just go try it. Try and fail, and fail a lot quickly, and you'll learn from that. I don't know any other way to do it.
Great. And if we could touch again about making Hoosier stories featuring Hoosier actresses and crew, and subjects. The knock we often hear being here in Indiana is we get movies made about us from afar. They don't shoot it here. But what's your topic on that? Is it really viable to make feature films, documentaries? Can people actually have a film career in Indiana?
I don't see why not. I mean, I don't have the formula yet, but I don't see why this shouldn't be a hub for film. and not even necessarily just independent film. I mean, I think, we start there, but I don't see why we shouldn't be making feature films, whether that be narrative or documentary, that are winding up in places like Sundance or Tribeca. We have such a talented community here, and a lot of people are doing a lot of interesting things in various sectors. A lot of it's commercial because we have to pay our bills, but I don't see why not. I would love to. I would love to get in a room with some financiers and like make my pitch as to why we should put ourselves on the map. But it's a great place to make a movie. And again, like the community here, like people don't make movies here. So all of our neighbors were like, "Oh, that's cool." So if you can get people on board, you don't have a lot of the hurdles or red tape that you have in a lot of other cities too, right? Like, yeah, I don't permits aren't so much an issue here. You can go set your camera up on the street block. Like we went to Franklin, Indiana, and just shot around the neighborhood, and it was no problem. Nobody stopped us. Or so I don't know. I think it's really it's got a lot of untapped potential in my opinion, and I hope over the course of the next few years we start to tap into it more than we have.
All right. Well, on that note, let me end with the question I usually ask filmmakers. What's next for you? Do you have your next passion project lined up, or in the stage where it's kind of growing in your mind?
Yeah, so I'm currently writing the next thing, which I'm hoping to turn into a feature. So just plugging away at that at the moment, and making progress, getting my elevator pitch ready for this weekend. But yeah, I'm writing the next thing, and then I would love to continue to make these short form documentaries about people around town and within the community. So kind of looking for the next one of those as well.
All right. Well, great. Well, Alex, thanks for joining us. Congratulations on your success. And of course, to anyone out there watching or listening, Indy Film Fest begins today, Wednesday, April 24th, with the opening night film of Last Days of Summer. You can also see that film. And Daniel, check the festival schedule and check it out.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here. Bye-bye.